Hello, hello. Welcome to Healthy Perspectives, a podcast that takes on current cultural and social issues through a clinical lens. Hello, hello. All right. Welcome back. Thank you for those of you who keep coming back. We definitely appreciate it. You know, I've been a little inconsistent. I know I said this last time. Hey, do me a favor. Well, do yourself a favor. If you like my content, please like, subscribe, do all the things that you're supposed to do so that you get notified when we drop. Because, going into summertime is usually, if you go back and you look at my history, a little less consistent than the other times of the year. And with my Achilles issue, I'm taking every opportunity I can to get to the gym. So a couple of times last week, I was like, oh, gym, record. Well, since I'm not making money at this, I'm choosing the gym. That's self-care. So keep that in mind if you really want to make sure you're getting the content. Today's tip of the day is be in the moment as I was. It's not that. Walk the tightrope. That's your tip of the day. Walk the tightrope. There are things in this world where walking the tightrope is very important. Now I can get to the next part. Being in the moment is really, really important, right? We talk about that from time to time. It is. However, we cannot neglect the future or forget the past in order to be in the moment. If we do that, that's the tightrope. If we do that, we end up making mistakes over and over and over and over. We don't want to do that. We want to make new decisions that are healthier, that are better. All right. So here we go. We are made to do hard things. And today we're going to walk that tightrope. All right. I want you to do a hard thing with me. Assume for a moment that you are going to die in a year from today, from the time that you're listening to this podcast. You are going to die in 1 year. My question for you is this: what will that look like? Not your death, but that year. Given that you are as healthy as you are as determined as you are, what does that year look like? What would you do for personal growth? What would you do for legacy? What would you trim out? What would you add into your life? What would you do with your finances? What about your relationships? What about work? How about vacations? How would you serve God differently? Like, these are big questions. No, they're humongous questions. And here's the challenge. We're going to detail these out a little bit, but this is not something that should be neglected at all. Let's take a look. What should we do for personal growth in the next year? Should we maybe do some personal growth with regards to our family, our friendships, our education? These are all things, like, what are you going to take with you? None of that. So you have to actually look at what matters the most when you talk about personal growth. Chances are you're going to probably come up with something like a little more like balance. I'm going to work as much as I need to, but I'm not going to work more than I need to. Not for a boss, not for myself. Nope. I'm going to create the balance. Hello, walk the tightrope. What about legacy? What are you going to do for a legacy? You've got 1 year left. What is going to be the legacy when that year is up and you are no longer here? Is it going to be money, cars, houses, property? Is it going to be relationships? Love. There's going to be laughter that people remember, tears that people remember. What is the legacy? How about trimming things out? Right off the bat, you're probably going, oh, I would trim out a little pound here and a little pound here. What are you waiting for? Trim things out that don't belong. Maybe that means you're selling some toys you don't play with anymore. Maybe that means you're going to actually clean out your garage. It could be a lot of things, folks. But are there things in your life that need to go? Maybe you're doing something that you should not be doing and you got to trim out. Think pornography. No more wasting that time. Gambling. What are you going to trim out? What are you going to add in? Or maybe it's an add to. Maybe something's already there, but you're not giving it enough of your time, energy, and resources. So maybe it's not a brand new thing, but maybe it is. Maybe you're going to jump out of an airplane with somebody you love with a parachute on. We don't want that year to end faster than it needs to. Maybe you'll add in a book. You got to think about the things you might add in. Time with your family, your kids, maybe a brother or a sister. What are you going to add in? Think about the finances. This is always an interesting one because people get really hung up in finances. In my clinical world, I deal with this all the time. And people just the basics, the most basic things about finances tie people up in knots. And that's whether they're making tons of money and investing or they're not. It doesn't really matter. A lot of people get tied up in knots around finances. Are you going to get tied up in knots if you only have 1 year and you know it? Are you going to be thinking about the money you leave behind? Or are you going to think differently, and this is more likely the case, about how you spend the money you have? Because spending money is part of that legacy piece. It tells people what matters to you. So maybe you'll go on adventures a little bit more, which, brings us down to, I'm going to skip ahead to vacations. Maybe you're going to do adventures so that you can create memories, long-term memories for the people that are going to be left behind. Maybe you're going to do something to change the trajectory of your whole family. Maybe you're going to start a donation of some sort that's going to last long beyond your time, your 1 year. Some sort of program that people can apply for, right? Scholarships, small business loans, whatever you pick. Maybe we should look at relationships. Are there relationships that you have that need repair and you just haven't done it? If you had just 1 year left, would you? Would you repair them? Or would you just let that go? And the truth is, both of those things could be necessary. Sometimes we hang on to relationships we shouldn't hang on to. Sometimes we don't repair things because we assume we'll have time later. So what are you going to do with your relationships? What about work? Are you going to work more, work less? Are you going to change jobs and make a whole bunch more money so that your family would be better taken care of? Or are you going to keep the same job? Because let's be real, if you're deciding that you're going to change jobs, chances are your job is not fulfilling. Why are you waiting? Why? And what about your relationship with God? If you knew you only had 1 year and you've been pissed off at God for the last 20 years, maybe you don't believe there's a God. Maybe you think you die and you just go back to the earth. Maybe that is you pondering, how will I want my body to rejoin the earth? Off of a ship, buried, put in a tomb? These are things you got to think about. If you only have a year left, you're going to think about these things. But we haven't been walking the tightrope. We haven't. We're busy living in the moment a lot of times and forgetting the past and the future as being part of our responsibility. Now, I don't want you to get lost in the past or lost in the future. That's not a healthy way to do things. But to neglect them is also unhealthy. That's the tightrope, folks. So, why does this matter? Like, who cares? Is there some reason that any of this makes any difference whatsoever? Yeah, you are creating the story or you're not. Either it's happening because you're doing it on purpose or you're not. And if you don't walk the tightrope, your days will pass without intentionality. The intentionality that the days deserve, they'll just pass you by. And 20 years from now, you're going to say, I wish I had, as I was. 1 year from now, you're going to say, I wish I had. Good correction. Yeah, we have to walk that tightrope, folks. We have to be in the moment, but not neglect the future or forget the past. We have to walk that tightrope. So here's the to do. Today, I look, I don't always do this, but today I'm going to, because I believe this is really important information for you. Here's what I want you to do. All right. If you're driving, don't do this right now. But if you're at home, if you're at a place where you have pen and paper, I want you to write this down. First, sit down. Okay. And write each of these categories. You ready? Personal growth, legacy, what to trim out, what to add in, finances, relationships, work, vacation, and whatever your thoughts are about God or end of life. Just write that down. Are you going to pray more, do altruism, whatever, right? So you write down God or whatever it is for you. So once you have those categories written down, ask these questions. Who am I in these areas? Who am I regarding personal growth? Am I somebody who believes that growth is important, even if we know we're going? In 1 year, we're going to die. Would I still choose to grow? Who am I in these areas? Who do I want to be in these areas? Do I want to be somebody who thinks about what needs to be left behind, trimmed out, and what needs to be added in order to improve the experience maybe in my life for me and for others? Who do I want to be? And what will transform me from who I am to who I want to be? What will transform me? Your final step is this. Once you've done it, once you've got all that done, written down, share it with at least 3 people. It could be a spouse. If you have adult children, it could be an adult child. I wouldn't recommend necessarily sharing this with a child. You might terrify them because this is a tough assignment. You got to share it, though. It could be a brother or a sister. a friend, a mentor, but share it. And then, if you are open to it, let us know how it goes. This is a pretty easy assignment in theory, but when you sit down to do it, this will kick your booty. I hope that some of you, even one of you out there, takes this seriously. It will have been worth my time if even one of you takes this seriously. If you take the time to write down these categories and say, if I had only a year, who am I and who would I want to be? Take the time to do that and see what happens. I believe this will help you transform your life, but you got to give it a try. You can't be a passive observer in this experience. I hope this helps. I hope this makes a difference. And I hope that maybe some of you will even let me know. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, please like, subscribe, and all those things so that you can get information like this down the road. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening. We appreciate our audience a lot, so we give you some simple ways to track us down. Please like, subscribe, and follow all the podcasts on different platforms, but you can also email us at healthyperspectives@protonmail.com, or you can check out our website at healthy-perspectives.com/podcast. It's a backward slash. So if you want to go to our landing page, if you go to healthy-perspectives.com, you'll still find us. You just got to click on the podcast button. Thank you so much.